Ladies and gentlemen, this is Biden's border crisis. Please welcome former Arizona news anchor Kari Lake. From the great state of Texas, Congresswoman Mayra Flores. Former Director of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Tom Homan. And your moderator, senior writer for Townhall.com, Julio Rosas.
You rock it, Mayra.
Thank you.
Did something happen recently? I don't know. I've been busy traveling. Welcome, everybody. My name is Julio Rosas. I'll be the breakfast taco moderating today's panel. I'm the senior writer over at Townhall.com. I've been covering the border extensively for them and all the mess that's been created. I'm also the author of Fiery but Mostly Peaceful, the 2020 Riots and Gaslighting of America. Just came out this spring if you want to check that out. But enough about me. We got a great panel here today. We have former acting ICE Director Tom Homan here. We have Congresswoman Mayra Flores representing South Texas. And I can officially say we have Kari Lake, the official GOP nominee for governor's race in the state of Arizona.
And just so you know, Julio, I was Mayra's first endorsement. I also endorsed Kari, so I'm 2-0. Trump has nothing on me.
So since we are here in the great state of Texas, I'm going to get home court advantage here over to the Congresswoman. So Congresswoman, you're from Mexico. You've lived in South Texas. You've been on both sides of the border for your entire life. You know more than anybody on this panel just how different things have become under the Biden administration. Bring it home for people. There are real people who live in South Texas, and they are Tejanos, and they're Hispanic, and they're Mexicans, and what have you. So how terrible have things become under the Biden administration?
It really has changed everything for us. Like you said, I'm from Mexico and was blessed to come to this amazing country when I was 6 years old. And most of us in South Texas have families in Mexico. And my grandparents still live in Mexico. I cannot visit them as often as I wish. Most people in South Texas cannot visit their families as well because of the criminal organizations that have taken over the southern border. And it's only gotten worse ever since Biden got elected. I wish it was different. But this is really hurting us all, not just in South Texas, but really the entire country. We've had over 3 million people cross illegally into our country. Child sex trafficking is a real problem in this country. And if we want to stop child sex trafficking, we must secure our borders. And this should not be political.
I heard it was racist securing the border, so I don't know. But what do I know? And so Kari, as someone who's going to be running for governor for a border state that's also been hit pretty hard, I've been to the Yuma sector. That has been one of the most hardest hit sectors along the entire southern border. We got people from, Colombia. We have Russians coming over there. Ecuador. I mean, it is one of those areas where it's not Mexicans. It's not even Northern Triangle countries. It's basically the entire world. So should you become governor, following this election? What concrete steps is your administration going to take to get things under control in Arizona?
Well, I think one of the reasons that I won is that I have the most aggressive border security plan in the country that we've ever seen. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. Our plan is to call it what it is. We have an invasion at the border, and on day one, we're going to call it that. And we need to call it what it is in order to use the U.S. Constitution for a remedy. Article 1, Section 10 says that if we are in imminent danger, we're being invaded, and time is of the essence, then we can protect our own border. We don't need to wait for Joe Biden. We can't wait for Joe Biden. And so we're going to get down there. We're going to issue a declaration of invasion on day one as soon as my hand comes off the Bible. We're going to send our Arizona National Guard troops to the border and stop people from coming. We're going to finish President Trump's wall. And as a state, we're going to remember that we are sovereign. We created the federal government. They didn't create us. And we're not going to sit here with Joe Biden rolling out the welcome mat to the whole world. We can't accept people illegally like this. And nobody in Arizona wants an open border. They don't want the fentanyl pouring in. They don't want the cartels in control of our border. We want safety on our streets, and we want security. And we're going to do that for the people of Arizona starting on day one.
So Tom, as for the former acting director of ICE, you know how the border affects the interior of the United States. So can you really bring it home for not just the people here, but for the rest of the country, just how that happens? And then can you also tell us the current state of ICE and interior, basically border enforcement, or interior immigration enforcement?
Well, look, at the same time President Biden opened up the border and went for the most secure border in my lifetime, under the greatest president in my lifetime, Donald Trump. At the same time, we had 1.7 million encounters, already got over 900,000 gotaways. So we're going to have 5 million by the time this fiscal year is over. At the same time they did that, they abolished the ICE mission. I always said they're not going to abolish ICE. They'll abolish the mission. They'll take their money away. That's exactly what they've done. In the same year, you had record illegal immigration. ICE had the lowest number of arrests and removals in the history of the agency. When I was there, we did 409,000 in 1 year. They did 59,000 the same year had record illegal immigration. And 59,000 is not an actual number either, because 28,000 of those were under the last 3 months of Trump administration. So Joe Biden removed 26,000 people, and we already show we're capable of moving 409,000. When I was in charge of enforcement removal operations for 3 years, I oversaw the removal of over 1 million illegal aliens. And we're going to see it again in 2024. Trust me. But here's where I've gone. I am busy suing the hell out of this administration. I'm working with I'm a senior fellow with a group called the Immigration Reform Law Institute. You need to look it up, irli.org. These are the finest immigration attorneys in the country. I'm a senior fellow with them. I testified in federal court in Houston 2 months ago, suing the administration on ICE priorities. We won, and we'll continue to win. We're like 6-0. So I'm going to continue suing this administration. I never thought after serving 6 presidents I would retire and sue one. But I've written more affidavits suing Biden than I ever wrote as an agent in 30 years. And I'm going to keep suing them with the help of Early. And folks, they need your help because they're up against the ACLU. We're a small group. We're going to sue the hell out of them. We're going to keep winning because this administration is lawless and they're violating federal law.
Now, as being, one of the members of the media, but one of the good ones, I assure you, I actually do give the mainstream media a little bit of credit. They do random acts of journalism every once in a while. And they've done so with the border crisis. They've done a fairly decent job reporting on the numbers, kind of reporting on some other things that maybe some things I missed. But then it gets undercut, literally, yesterday from the New York Times. This is GOP governors cause havoc by busing migrants to the East Coast. And so everyone on this panel here has run-ins with the mainstream media and their bias. So, Congresswoman, with your experience with the media being the way that they are, and you've also had to, very, very recently deal with a local blogger, how does that, affect people where, all of a sudden the mainstream media says, oh, this is a problem once it reaches their doorstep in Washington, D.C. or New York City. And actually, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, Governor Abbott sent the first bus of migrants from Texas to New York City. So what are some of the things that the mainstream media is missing when they write stuff like this?
Well, I think it's important that they understand, those states understand what we're going through, what we have been going through for a long time, ever since the Biden administration came in. They've destroyed the southern border. And, look, it's their policies that have created this crisis. Over 1,000 immigrants have lost their lives. They claim to care about immigrants. They don't care about immigrants. They don't care about the American people. They only care about themselves and the power of the Democrat Party. They don't care about who we are. And to be honest with you, I really don't care what the media has to say. The people in South Texas don't care. We have real issues that we need to focus on this coming November. And all I ask the American people is they want us to get distracted. Focus on the issues that matter in your district. Focus on the values. And I don't believe that no political party is worth us forgetting about who we are. Do not put God aside for no political party. Do not put your family values for a political party. Do not be loyal to a political party. Our loyalty needs to be with God. Our loyalty needs to be with our family. And I really do think that we need to start embracing our faith and our family values and strengthen them. And I think that we'll become a much better country. But to be honest with you, South Texas, Texas 34 can care less. We're focused on the issues that really matter to us.
As someone who used to be in the media as well, used to be on the dark side of things.
Do you really want me to go after the media right now? Because I will. I believe they are enemy of the people, as President Trump says. They're lying to us. In Arizona, they're not covering the border well. I mean, I know some of the national outlets might be down there. And they're more interested in covering school board meetings where they're calling moms and dads terrorists than the real narco-terrorists at the border. And we got to start treating the cartels as terrorists, and we're going to start kicking them out, putting them on no-fly lists, and taking away any of their earnings to help build the wall, frankly. The media is more interested in attacking the good men and women who are running for office, who care about this country, than attacking people who are trying to invade our country and peddle drugs and poison our children with these drugs. And frankly, let's remember the humanitarian angle. These people coming across, millions of them now. You say 5 million, Tom?
Yes.
These people are going to be indentured servants to the cartels. That's not how we operate in America, and I'm not okay with that, and I don't think you're okay with that.
And I'm glad she brought that up, because that is something that a lot of people miss, is that once a lot of these people come into the United States and then they are released, the cartels doesn't say, okay, we're done with you now.
They own them.
They own them. And so they have to work off their debt. They go through a lot of terrible things, even after they've already gone through this very dangerous journey. And so, Tom, I mean, again, with how egregious the media can be when it comes to covering the border. I mean, I was in Del Rio back in September when the Haitians were all coming in. And I remember all of a sudden news is breaking about, Border Patrol is whipping these migrants. And it was started by this Twitter liberal activist, and the mainstream media just ran with it. It was unbelievable. And here I am, we're at the bridge. They had been trying to ignore this situation for over a week at that point. And now all of a sudden, we're going to cover whipping. And so, I mean, it's ridiculous at how, first of all, the Border Patrol doesn't even issue whips,
Yeah.
number one. But that just shows how, people who live on the East Coast and not in their bubbles just don't even have a basic idea what's actually happening at the border. So, I mean, Tom, how did that affect the boots on the ground, the guys that are on the front lines, where they see either themselves being slandered or they saw their comrades being slandered, not just by the media, President Biden also joined in on that. I mean, how did that just affect them?
Look, as far as this, the media tried to cancel me for 3 years, but I don't give a shit. So they can talk to me as much as they want. But the men and women, I started my career as a Border Patrol agent, 1984. Proudest moments of my life, putting on a uniform every day. But the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, in his first speech, and this is why the media is against him, the first speech President Biden gave was, the last administration would watch children starve to death on the banks of the Rio Grande, did nothing about it. He's talking about the 20,000 men and women wearing that uniform who saved over 12,000 people last year. These are American patriots, the finest 1% this country has. And you got the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, who stands on stage and says the border's secure, the border's secure, the border's closed, while the men and women in Border Patrol are busting their ass 24/7. They've lost total respect in the Commander-in-Chief. They lost respect in the Homeland Security Secretary. I do everything I can for them on Fox. I fight for them every day because the day I retired, I promised the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol I may be retiring from this position, but I'll always have your six because they're the finest Americans on the face of the earth. They deserve better. And let me say one more thing about the Horse Patrol. The Horse Patrol did nothing wrong. I watched the video. I knew within 3 minutes they did nothing wrong. I was a Border Patrol agent. But the media attacked them. President, the Vice President, the Secretary of Homeland Security, everybody attacked them without looking at the facts. They had them guilty before the investigation went over. The investigation should have took 15 minutes because you can see they did nothing wrong. Now that they found out they didn't whip anybody, now they're trying to find other charges against them, which is the most un-American thing you can do to men and women who put it on the line every day to serve this nation. I have buried Border Patrol agents. I have buried ICE agents. For their Commander-in-Chief to attack them the way they do, he needs to be impeached.
I mean, Congresswoman, your husband is a Border Patrol agent as well. I mean, how did that whole incident and then the aftermath, I mean, how did he feel about it? How did his coworkers feel about it? I mean, that was one of the most egregious things I had seen in terms of media malpractice.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see. I'm a proud Border Patrol wife. If you're watching, I love you. You're my hero. You're our hero. I will always support our men and women in green for the service that they do. And it's really difficult. And it's not just difficult on them, it's difficult on the families. The constant disrespect. They don't understand that they're a familia. There are sons, there are daughters, there are husbands, there are neighbors. And every time they disrespect them, they disrespect an entire family. Mm-hmm. And it really hurts to see that lack of disrespect from our elected officials, from our president. Because again, to me, I just feel that this is something that we should all agree. Securing the borders, like it used to not be like this. You know, Democrats, Republicans should all come together to stand with our men and women that are there to enforce the laws that we put in place, that they put in place. And it's really sad to see what's happening in our country. And that's the reason why I encourage all Border Patrol wives to get involved, because they can't speak, but we can. So get involved. And it's so important because the government has completely silenced them. They can come out and speak for themselves. And let me tell you, so many of them are retiring and they don't have the resources to do their job effectively. My husband right now is processing children, saving children that are being abandoned in the middle of nowhere, children that have gone through so much trauma, that have been raped multiple times. I have children of my own, and I just can't imagine that to happen to my child. And I don't care where these children are from. They're completely innocent, and this is something that we should all come together to protect them. They're our children.
But you know, I want to say something really quick. It's never about the truth with the media. They saw an image and they froze that image and thought, wow, we can make it look like something else. And then they run with it. And even when the truth finally comes out, they don't even report the truth. They did the same thing with Nick Sandmann. They did the same thing with Kyle Rittenhouse. They don't care. It's about a narrative meant to divide us. They want us like this. And thank God America's waking up to the lies of the media. We will eventually come together. I believe we will. But we got to turn those people off. Just turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. Find a few trusted sources. And I think we're starting to figure out who we can trust in the media. There's certain people where we go, they're honest. And they're not honest. We have a couple good ones over here, hopefully. We got a good one right here.
Hey.
Well, and so with Arizona, because I mean, just because how Texas is so massive and it does cover most of the border, I feel like Arizona. I mean, that's why people didn't even know about Yuma for such a long time, at least on the national level, just how bad things are. I mean, so again, should you enter the governor's mansion? I noticed that you said something.
I will.
I don't know. Pinell County might have something to say about that.
Well, no, I don't think for 1 second that Arizona will bring Katie Hobbs into the governor's office. There's no way. And so we're going to win, and we are going to secure the border. We have a very complex border. It's different than Texas. And it's going to take one strong governor to get in there and say, we'll take care of the problem. We're going to ask other states to help us out. Because what happens in Arizona when it comes to the border doesn't remain in Arizona. It goes everywhere. And everywhere I go, people say, build the wall and secure the border. And we will do that. And we think other states will come in. We're going to ask for their help. We'll have an interstate compact. And if they can send their National Guard to help us out, if they can send resources, we'll work with them. And together we will get our border secure. And eventually the other border states will then start to do the same thing. Now, I'm not a fan of busing people here illegally into other cities.
So you wouldn't do that?
It makes for a cute photo op, but it just takes people who shouldn't be here and moves them further in. I think we should bring the buses and drive them to the border and then send them back the other way. Because we can't have everybody coming in. And these are people from 160 countries. Is that right, Tom? Is it 160 now?
150, 160.
160 different countries coming here. This isn't, I was talking to a Border Patrol agent. They said, we're actually shocked if somebody comes over from Mexico. This is from all over the world. And we know for a fact, the stats show we've got thousands of people coming here who have who are murderers or have a murder rap. We have sex assault suspects. We have drug, obviously, the people running drugs across have a drug rap. But we can't have these criminals coming in. They're not all criminals, but we don't want any criminals coming in, any terrorists coming in, and we certainly don't want people coming in who are going to be taking our jobs, driving our wages down, and then be indentured servants to the cartels. We're not going to remain a country if we allow that to happen.
So, Tom, I mean, the answer might seem kind of obvious, but not to the Biden administration. But how do we fix this?
You do what, as part of the Heritage Foundation, I met with over 100 GOP representatives up on Capitol Hill 2 months ago. The first thing you do when they take control of the House, you impeach Mayorkas, get the hell out.
That's right.
Because not only has he violated his oath, but he's put this country in great danger. Kari mentioned it. 160 different countries, natives from 160 countries have entered the United States. Border Patrol's arrested 53 people on the terrorist screening database. There was 900,000 gotaways. How many of that 900,000 gotaways came here to blow something up? So Secretary of Homeland Security, he has no integrity. Would he tell the White House, I can't support the open borders anymore because it's putting this country at great risk? The second thing I would do is bring back the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump, this year. And for the folks who don't like Donald Trump, I'll say this. I worked for 6 presidents starting with Ronald Reagan. Every one of them, even Clinton and Obama, had some plan to try to secure the border because they all knew you can't have national security without border security. But no one did more than President Trump. Stone cold fact. He shut immigration at the lowest level ever. And when you shut immigration, for the people that say Tom Homan and President Trump and Steve Miller, you're all vicious, no humanity. When immigration is at a 40-year low, down 83%, how many children aren't dying? How many children aren't being raped? How many billions the cartels not make? How many terrorists didn't get in the country? President Trump saved lives. So I would say, and I'll end it with this and give these folks real quick. I was with President Trump 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. We had dinner, and I told them, you come back, I come back, we'll fix this shit in 30 days.
Do a quick wrap up. Final words for you guys.
Well, I agree. We have to impeach Mayorkas. It's
Yes.
a priority of mine as well. But I want people to know that the wall in South Texas actually was built during the Obama administration. And yet, during that time, no one called it racist. You know, and that just shows the hypocrisy. And I'm all about giving our Border Patrol agents the resources that they need. But right now, it's really the policies. This administration is putting in policies that are encouraging illegal immigration. And also, there is organizations in the United States that are going to South America, that are going to Mexico, and literally paying for their hotel, for their food, to come here to the United States. And they are taking advantage of these people that are in need, that are wanting to escape crime. Of course, I'm against illegal immigration, but it's also people from here, from this country, that are literally paying the entire way. And that's something that it's important that we understand, that we have our own enemy within. And there is good people. You know, I want y'all to know there is good people wanting to come here to work hard for the American dream, but we want them to come here legally. And that is why it's so important that we fix the immigration system, because it is broken. There's people that have been waiting 15, 20 years to come here to the United States. So we have to fix the legal process so good people can come here to the United States. And that is also a priority of mine as well.
Final word.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting in and showing the country that we as a state can take back our sovereignty and we can secure our own border. And we're going to prove that we can do this. We will take the fight to the federal government, because we're not going to sit here and be victim to what they're doing to us. So I thank you all for listening to us and being here. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Leave a round of applause for our panel here.